Hello and welcome back to Mind of Success. I'm your host, Moni Millares, a Mexican British living in Asia. I work in fintech and build digital banks from scratch. In my years in the industry, I've realized most of us are in a vulnerable financial position. However, building a business can be a catalyst for change. So I created this podcast. It's about business stories we do not talk about. I chat with entrepreneurs, CEOs, and experts about their journeys, struggles, and lessons to extract gems of wisdom and practical tools so that we can thrive and create the impact we want. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Mind of Success. Today, we have a very interesting story. Well, very interesting man telling his story. So today we have Emmanuel Daza. He is a very unique mix of art and technology. So basically, I'll tell your story a little bit before I go into you, Emmanuel. So basically, he started painting at the age of 3, and he did his first expo at the age of 6. So that's impressive. And of course, now many years later, he continues to be a pioneer. And then he is heavily involved in the NFT world. So not only he's involved in NFTs, but he also works in RedLine blockchain as NFT and art director. So as you can see, he has like a very unique mix and personality. You'll see this through the show. So Emmanuel, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Monica. Nice to be here, though. Yes. Well, you said very, very well everything. Well, like a resume, right? So let's get from the start. So when I was like 3 years old, I grew up in a family that they were used to be only pilots. They used to be pioneers on that technology in Colombia, and if we compare the new technologies to the past technologies, they used to be analog technologies. So, example, the ferrocarril, right? The cars, maybe a motorcycles, though, they are analog technologies. So right now we're getting into these blockchain technologies, these NFT ones, the DAOs. So it's important to start being a pioneer in this. So that's kind of a mix, right? So when I grew up, my father was like a crazy man, like he wants to be an artist. My great father said like, no, we're pilots. And if you're not going to be a pilot, you should be an architecture. You have to study architecture. So my father went to study those social things. And then when he grew up, he flew from the house, he moved to Spain, and then he started painting, right? So when he came back to Colombia, he was already a great artist in there. He even got a few winning prizes on his art. It's art style. Look, this is like his landscapes, right?
Oh,
so
that is cool.
I grew up seeing this.
I
grew up seeing these landscapes, his colors, his blue trees. So I was like, okay, you know what? I want to paint. And he was like, nah, you want to paint?
Your dad said no?
Yeah, he doesn't want to teach me about it. He was listen, if you're going to paint and being an artist, you have to pass 3 up to 5 days without eating.
What?
If you do so, you will be an artist. And I was like, no way.
Why did he say that?
Because, to being a really raw artist, you have to pass at least before the NFTs a strong path, right? Sometimes you don't eat. That's the truth. You're spending your time on creating. You're spending your time or your money on materials, but sometimes it's not enough to get enough eating or food or supplies for yourself. So if you're going, or you used to be an artist back in that time, imagine he was an artist, he started painting at 1965, 1970, something like that. So it really was a tough time though. there wasn't a strong connection with the internet. They didn't have these spaces to share their stories.
Yeah.
So it was up to the gallery. It was up to the gallery or the merchandiser that believed in himself or his art, right? So it was tougher. So that's why he said, like, okay, if you are willing to spend 5 days without eating, without food, you are an artist.
Wow. That is
tough.
That is
right?
tough.
So,
there's not another word. That is tough. Yeah.
The funny part is that it came true. It was true. Before NFTs, really was true. The path that I took, well, we will get there. So I started seeing him painting, and I was like 3. I was like, oh yeah, let's do the colors. And I started to ask him a lot of questions, and I started to paint the floor. Start to paint the walls, and they go like, okay, you know what? Here's a block of paper. You now could start doing drawings there. Stop doing it on the walls. So they start to canalize my creativity.
Energy, yeah.
And then I start painting like my father. Landscapes, things like that. And they went like, my parents went like, okay, listen, son, it's good what you're doing, but now we need you to start creating your own stuff.
Oh, that's amazing. That's really good parenting style.
Yeah. Because, it got a moment that some of my paintings start to look alike to my father paintings.
Because you were a child.
I grew up seeing him,
Exactly,
it was like, I will do it, right? It's like we copy, we observe, at least me, I am a kind of people that learn observing, and I have my ideas as an images. When I'm thinking on images, not words, right? So I imagine places, things, and that's how it connects
together. Yeah.
So I start to see, okay, in that moment, we used to live in Cartagena, Colombia, and what I have my side, it was like sea, landscapes, beaches, like really tropical scenarios. So I started like, okay, you know what? Let's leave out the landscapes, the trees. Let's do seascapes. Let's do oceans. And then I started to paint with spatula. We used to do acrylic on spatula. So I started to create these kind of dolphins that in this side, it was like he was jumping. Right? He was jumping from the water. But if you turn down the painting, it was the dolphin getting into the water.
Oh, that is cool.
So you change the painting and you see a different painting every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the perspective was the key.
Yeah.
So I was like only 6 years at that moment.
Well, wait, you did the ocean and the dolphins when you were 6 years old?
6. I was 6.
And the swapping.
Yeah, this thing. Yeah, I was curious to do different stuff, not just living the painting like that. So I was playing with, okay, what happened if I change the perspective?
When you were
what
6?
Happened if I changed the? Yeah, I was 6.
That's what I'm impressed about. It's like when you were 6.
Yeah, but listen, it's because I used to have everything around, so it's not like they had to buy it or something like that, or pay for an artist to come to the house to teach me. No, it wasn't like that. It was like everything was there. So it was just taking whatever I had and creating, right?
That's amazing.
It was needing a lot of expression. I was a really lonely dude. I was at house every time playing with Play-Doh, not toys, Play-Doh, and creating things. That was me. 5 hours drawing papers.
That is so cool. Yeah.
Well, in that time, we doesn't have these cell phones with apps and games, right?
And internet. We used to do kids stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So at that moment, my parents got a gallery in Miami. They used to exhibit my father's art. And they tell them, hey, listen, you know what? I have a son. He's painting this and that. And they went like, wait, 6 years? No way. Want to see the paintings. So we sent them like 25 of my paintings, something like that. And when they received it, they said, you know what? We want to do a solo of your art. So this gallery was Agora Gallery in Miami, and they did a solo for a new talent, and it was me. It was my paintings. So I was in Cartagena, but my paintings were in Miami, and I was like, whoa! I started to
At
do my
6
paints.
year, you were 6 still?
I was 6 years old. Yeah,
And
yeah,
you
yeah.
had your
So
own exhibition in a gallery in Miami.
in Miami, since from Colombia, it was
Wow,
crazy. And then
that
I
is
sold my
cool.
first paintings.
And you
I,
sold
I
your first
remember
piece?
it was $100. In that time,
Awesome. In
those
that
hundred
time, that
dollars
was a
were a
lot.
lot of money in
Well, right
Colombia.
now
Yeah.
it's a lot, but
Imagine a
like
6
30
years
years,
old
yeah.
kid with $100. It was like, oh, I would buy, you know what I buy? A cell phone. Ericsson with the green screen, the huge block.
You bought that?
I was 6 and I want to have a phone. I was like, okay, let's buy the phone. I have my money. I realized
Yes,
that I could
I'm
do
an
it with my
artist.
paintings.
Of course.
Yes, I
Oh,
started to have my phone, but nobody called me,
of course.
only my father. But it was like cool to get from an art through money, then money through technology, and then start to connect when I was 6. Everything, that's the important thing, important to what I'm teaching right now, because
Mhm.
that's the moment when you are 6, 7, 8. Those are, to me, the moments where you choose whom you will be on life, right? Maybe not sure completely, but it starts to build the
You're
basis for yourself.
defining moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that moment, I defined that I will love to continue doing paintings. I defined that I love the technology in that moment and what I could do with the technology. So that's the starting point.
Wow, that is unique. I I've studied a lot, like let's say the human mind and stuff. And I've heard many times different people, the ages under 6, 5, 6, 7, they are very important because we absorb a lot. But this is the first time that I hear someone that it's like, and I was 6, and at that age, I decided that I wanted to be an artist and I wanted to do that. I was like, oh, wow. Like when
Yeah.
you're like, and then at the age of 6, that's when you decide what you want to be. I'm like, you make me even question. I'm like, what did I decide when I was
No,
6? I don't
there's
remember.
no time though. There actually is no time, and I believe this particular times with the connection that we have right now with the internet and so on, we have more pressure than before. It's like you have to be successful at 25 or 35 or you are nothing, and you still have 70 more years to come.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
an unnecessary rush and pressure to ourselves, but it's like a normal thing though. So it's don't get this 6 years like, oh, I should be doing that at 6. No, no worries. You,
No,
you have
no,
40, you have
no.
45, and you want to start painting. It's okay.
Exactly,
You can do
exactly, exactly,
it.
exactly. So then what happened between, like very short, like story, what happened between you were 6, you started painting, you decided that you wanted to be an
That
artist,
was
you
the
had
path.
technology, and then fast forward, I don't know your age, but let's say I'll guess 30 years later,
Yeah, exactly.
then
So the
then how
the
did that
resume
unfold?
of the path was like I with my father, we used to travel a lot and living in different places. So every 2 years, we moved from city to another one. So I don't get what some of my friends have. Like they have a friend from the
From
school when they were
kindergarten.
kids and so
Yes.
on, kindergarten. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't have that because I used to move a lot. So I grew up meeting a lot of people, and that's what's what about like meeting people, meeting places, different cultures, adapting to those places. It was a tough one because I born in Bogota, then I moved to Cartagena. Totally different things, culture, everything. Even though it's inside Colombia, right?
Really?
So then, yeah, Colombia is like 27 different accents, 3 block of different perspective. So there is the Cachacos or Rolos, then there is the Paisa people, and then there is the Costeños. So it's three of different kind of seeing life, right?
Yeah.
Totally. So
Okay.
adapting to those places, it was the tough part. You know, maybe you do things different and you speak different in Bogota, and then you change totally to Cartagena, and then I used to meet friends that surf, so I started to get involved with surfing, but still painting, right? So it was a mix in there, but the time passed fast, and these changes made me finish my school when I was 16. I finished school at 16, and then I get back to university just right away.
Oh,
So it
wow.
was like a rush. I was like in a rush to finish everything. So when I was 16, I moved out of my house. I started living by myself with
At
my
16.
paintings. So I used to fly with a roll of paintings from Cartagena to Bogota to Panama to Houston, Miami, Cartagena. I was all this time
Why were you traveling
keeping
that
the
much? Were you traveling
because I do
because
an
of
exhibitions. I got an exhibition in Houston.
since
Then I
16?
got Art Basel. It's 16 to 21. It
Oh,
was the
wow.
most movement times of my life, right? It was really rushing. I was like, I want to get into the 25th millionaire and so on. You know, it was a kind of a rush in my mind to get there in that moment. Right now, I'm thinking more
Wow.
slowly,
Good,
but
good.
but in that time I was in really rush. I want to do exhibitions here, another exhibition in there. So I was painting
Nice.
30, 40 paintings per month. It was really crazy. But then I met my actual wife. um, she used to have a son in that moment. I started to connect with him. He was 6. Now he's 14, and we got a little kid. He's right now 5. So when I start to be parenting and so on, I was like, okay, I want to give them what I didn't receive when I was at that age. So I start to be really close in Panama,
Yeah.
really short. We moved in 2001 to Panama because we were running from the last FARC. It was a big deal in Colombia. So we kind of escape from there. It was
Yeah.
tough. I remember everything. I remember the guns.
Oh,
It was
wow.
really strong impact, right?
Yeah.
So when we start to live in Panama, it became my base. So yeah, I started moving 2 years to every part. But even though I used to came back
Come back
at
to
least
Panama. Yeah.
one time per year, I used to came here, right? So here's my base. Here's where I live. Here's where my son born. So it's where everything start to have. It's everything start to have like a sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So from here now, I could start building future. From here now, I could start building legacy.
Yeah.
So I am like a Panamanian right now. A lot
Of
of years
course.
have come, already 20 years living here. Yeah,
Yes,
moving
you
going,
are.
but
Yes.
20 years,
It's a lot
21
of
years
years.
already.
It's a lot of years. Yes.
So
Yes.
my son is full Panamanians, right? And I start to see that there is no like art teachers that came to houses, or there used to be only like musicians. Okay,
Mm.
they get to the house and they teach you how to play the piano or
But
things like
not
that,
painting as
but
such.
not painting or sculptures. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
you know what? That's the thing. And I get to different schools, different universities, but they teach you wrong. Not all of them, but most of them, because they teach you how to do this pen. Okay, they teach you how to paint like me, but they don't teach you the technique behind. They teach you how to paint like that. So yeah, they teaching you everything. You will start painting though, but what you will be painting is a copy of that art.
Yeah. They
You are
don't teach you
not
to be a
to
creator.
being yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
being yourself. Okay, what do you want to express? Okay, I want to express through technology and do algorithms. Okay, how you will do there? No, you have to start the colors and lights of, I don't know, let's say Picasso. Why? Why do you have to start with a famous artist? Yeah, you want to encourage the people to get in there, but the main thing is getting your own technique, your own vision. what you really want to express. Yeah, I painting, I do paint. I used to work for different companies because these companies pay me enough to, I have enough money to buy,
The
supplies for
materials.
art
Yeah,
supplies.
exactly. Yeah.
So it was like a deal with a company to support my lifestyle.
Of course.
But, yeah,
We
but
all do that. Yeah. Well, not we all. Many of us do
yeah,
that. You work and then
but
you
the
you
main
have the
goal,
passion.
exactly, but the main goal, it was getting enough money from my art to don't being one of those who have to woke up 5 a.m. till 5 p.m. working in somewhere that they really don't like, because their self, inside their self, they know they could do better, they know they could do
Yes.
different things,
Yes.
but they got into the comfort zone, paycheck, and that's how they live, and I don't want to live like that. So for my son, for my kids, I was like, okay, you know what, there is no art teachers, I will be the one. I will start doing this.
Awesome.
So I start giving paint art classes to kids.
Yeah.
My students are from 5 years till 75, but the most of them are between 7 and 13.
Mm.
One of them is a special kid. He has Asperger. He's like
Yes.
10, but his mind is like 5. And he's from Colombia. His mother is from Colombia. They live in Panama, but this kid has to do a treatment in US. So this kid only speak English. And his mother doesn't understand. So they
That's
are
tough.
having a tough time to communicate. And he wants to communicate through stories that he draws. So we paid in a farm, and he tell me the story of the farm, and why the chicken is the good one, and why the horse is a bad guy, and so on. And he wants to communicate through his
For
stories,
stories and
right?
his art.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I started to involve with these kids. I was like, okay. I left part of my paintings. I have like it's been 26 years since I started painting as a professional. And you cannot say I'm still painting the same thing. I've been changing my art, it's been changing, everything changed depending on your perspective of life, right? So
Agree.
my paintings are being changing through my life.
Of
So
course.
right now I'm doing more uh, crazy stuff than before, if
Yes.
we could say it
Let's
in some
expand on
way.
that because, like, for anyone who's like listening just to the audio, just for context, like
Yeah,
Emmanuel has like his paintings behind him, like we are here on video, right? They are awesome. So it's like
thank you.
it's the bright, it's the color, it's the energy. That painting expresses a lot.
Your
It's
palette
very
express what you're
attractive.
feeling.
It's
Totally.
very attractive. It's kind of like it pulls your eyes towards the painting. It's like, so what's your style? How do you come up with that
Yeah, so
art?
look, at very beginning, like I said, I was like in landscapes and doing forests and so on, then seascapes and few animals in there. But with the time, I started living by myself, flying some places to another. So I started painting abstract, and it was not like a funny abstract or something like you may like. It was strong. It was like fire. It was like reds. It was a really tough
Anger.
expression on the abstract side.
Yeah.
Then I started to search for different mediums. I just like the canvas and so on. So I started to do things with metals
Nice.
and painting with not just acrylic, with esmaltes and this polymeric stuff that we used to paint on, maybe on chips, so the iron doesn't start to came up with red. It's
Yeah. That is
playing
cool.
with materials. It was
Yeah.
playing with materials, right? So you could see maybe this is more newer. So this is a Rex with a
Yes,
mask.
it does look like a Rex with a mask. Yeah, it
Yeah,
does. It's like
with
a
a mask.
COVID Rex.
This one is 2020.
Okay. Yes, I can see that.
So the abstract world started to change, and then I find out that I could do things with plexiglass and I started to change to plexiglass and some irons and so on. But it wasn't enough for me. So it starts the pandemic. And with the pandemic, I said, "Look, you know what? I would stop doing what I painting and I will start doing messages on my paintings." So I think about what was happening around us. And I was here in Panama when everything started with the pandemic. And I said, "Look, you know what? We're like a pandas, okay? Even though panda is a Chinese animal, so it's cool. Chinese animal that is like us because it's living in a paradise that is fake. Our apartments, our houses are those paradise for them. So we're in a close places that we think we're cool, we're good, we're having a good time here. But we're close in those places, right? So
like
I was like, okay, where are the pandas? Where are the pandas? So the first panda used to have a huge mask because of what's going on around. And I was like, okay, my paintings are in risk of disappearing because if I am the artist and the human that disappears with these happenings, well, they're in risk too because there won't be more paintings. So that's what kind of the
Oh,
thing.
wow. I
And they
never
used to
thought of
have a
that before.
crown.
Yeah.
And they
Never
had a
thought that,
crown, a
yeah.
crown that doesn't touch their head, but it's floating.
It's floating.
Crown, coronavirus, crown.
So for anyone listening
So hidden messages.
that doesn't speak Spanish, corona means
crown.
Crown
Yeah. So that's why it was a huge crowns. But I was playing with different techniques.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a crown panda. The crown panda.
The crown panda, like a corona
Yeah,
panda because of
corona panda, exactly.
the pandemic, of course.
So it was like us.
Sense.
The pandas were us. So different pandas, different styles on the panda, different colors because they are us.
Oh wow! Now I'm like, wow. So your current art, like these pandas that look amazing, they are a representation of each of us as human beings going through the pandemic, and the crown is corona. That's it.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
It's
you are in a close place for your paradise.
And we were stuck in our own paradise, e.g., our homes. Wow, that's the meaning behind this art. Would have never thought about it just by looking at it. But it's very expressive.
That's why I love the clubhouses and spaces because you get to really tell the people what is about your art.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, I saw it and I'm seeing this technique in here and this and such. But no, man, what's really what you really want to tell us about your art? That's important.
Yeah.
So then I start to do owls. Okay. Time start to change.
Yeah.
Time start to change. And I saw the news about Beeple, this crazy guy that do 3D art. And I was like, whoa, this guy is selling his art for 69 million. And I went crazy. I was like, close gap, really, really close. When I started doing arts at 16 on universities, I went out. I wasn't completed because I don't like how they teach. So I passed through at least 5 different universities through Colombia and Panama. But at the end, I finished in Medellin in a design school. Its name is La Colegiatura. Okay, that's the name of the university. And they only teach about design, graphic designers, everything that has to make with design. Yeah. So it's only like 6 players inside there. It's like very close, a pretty tiny university. But they really teach you how to do, example, Photoshop. They teach you how to use these programs at the very first semester. Not like in Panama or different places, they start to teach you about the techniques or the technology behind of the design after you complete like a lot of tests. Yeah. So it was a huge impact for me going straight to the technology. So when I hear about people, and I have my art classes stop because of the pandemic, And I was painting and painting and painting, closing my house. I was
I
like,
have
okay,
a
you know
question. I
what?
have to stop you. I have
Yeah,
an
yeah, yeah, yeah,
ignorant
yeah.
question, but probably many of my friends and listeners will have that question too. You say, when I heard about people, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you expand, like, because it seems like he or she is like key to this story. Who
Yeah,
is
it's
he or
pretty key
she?
on
I
this.
don't know.
Okay, so I used to follow a lot of different profiles on social media. Okay,
Yeah.
I used to use a lot TikTok or Instagram, and most of that time on pandemic. So some of them start to show like a huge painting of a lot of paintings. So I started to read and I follow and I learned that it wasn't paintings, it was a 3D art. And it was 5,000 of them in a huge one. I was like, okay, let's start to see what's going on. And all the platform starts to talk about people. Who's people? What's going on with this and that? And I learned that it was a guy with a glasses with a chair. He doesn't look like an artist. He looks like he looks like an accountant, something like that.
Stereotypes. That's what stereotypes are.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, this is cool. Let's learn more about him. So Sotheby's, one of the huge auction houses, gets involved, and they did an auction of his 5,000 paintings. And let's explain that. He paints one per day. So it was 5,000 days of his art, just one piece. So it was a lot of work, a lot of years
Oh, wow.
coming through at just one huge piece. So
Yeah.
it means a lot. It has a huge value. So this piece sold out for 69 million in Ethereum, equivalent of 69 million in dollars. Okay, it was like a lot of numbers on Ethereum, but to us, it was $69 million.
That's a lot of money.
Insane.
Was he famous before he did all this and his paintings were
No,
already like so expensive, but it's until he did all the digital
no. Listen, this guy, he was already a 3D artist. So he already have a community. That's the key word in all what it changed to myself and to everyone is hearing right now.
Yeah.
That's the key, community. He used to have a lot of followers in Twitter, and he plays his paintings through all the years in there. Imagine 12 years, 15 years, every day, no excuses, every day one art. So when the time passed, he got contact with tech kids, and these tech kids tell him like, "Hey, you should be doing NFTs." And he was like, in one of the interviews, he was like, "What is that?"
What's an NFT?
But they convinced him. They convinced him,
Okay.
and then he started doing this NFT project. Right now, he's the most top seller as a male on NFTs, over 100 million in NFTs. It's insane.
Wow.
But so I was like, okay, I want to do like
coming
that.
back to
I
you,
was
exactly.
in that hype.
Yes,
I was in that hype. How do I do that? So in Panama, in the pandemia, a friend of ours in my crew, he used to start creating chats for crypto people. Like, okay, you want to learn how to buy a Bitcoin or any other crypto? Add me here. And then he started to create a community on WhatsApp. So by the end of 2 months, he already had 3 full WhatsApp communities, 256 people in each. So suddenly, one day, he started to say, "Hey, Juanito, hey, man, I'm going to teach you how to do NFTs. Write to me on private." I was like, wait. I want to know. So I write to my friend. I was like, "Hey, man, his name is Aldo." So I was like, "Hey, Aldo, listen, how do I do that? I want to be part of it." And he was like, "Nah, I don't want to teach you. You have to get into YouTube."
Oh, yes, that's that. Go to YouTube. They're like, no, YouTube is hard to learn.
But you are saying you're going to teach. And he's like, "No, for you, my friend, no, you have to get into YouTube." And that was the best advice I got, man.
Really? I was like, I've been trying to learn like blockchain and NFTs and all this terminology from YouTube, there's so much in there that I'm like, oh, this is hard. I'm like, not YouTube.
Yeah, it's insane. So that was already a year ago. Already a year
Just
ago.
1 year
Imagine
ago.
that.
And I'm like,
Just 1 year ago.
1 year ago. Okay. And then what happened? You went into YouTube.
So that's the moment that everything started to change in my life. Everything. Because I managed to connect my art classes, my artworks, and all that I love from the technology to the same point. Okay.
Yeah.
So I started to learn about, I started to crush myself through huge walls. Okay. You learn to have Ethereum. You need to pay gas fees. I was like, what? I have to pay to upload my Remember, it was the beginning, right?
Yes, of course. Of course.
So I was like, okay, let's do it. So I called my friend again. Listen, Aldo, I already have my account, but I need Ethereum. Help me there. Oh, you get to there. Okay. Send me the address. And I started to send him address. He started to send me Ethereum. I started to collect these Ethereum to order to pay those gas
for
fees.
the gas fees.
And I was like, okay, so excited. Let's do it.
Oh, wow.
Then passed 2 months, 3 months, and I didn't sell anything.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, I spent all this money. I crashed through a lot of walls, but cool. It was a curve of learning, right? So I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's keep going on. And then the people start to open more. So it was an exhibition, and I told to my friends, listen, okay, let's do the exhibition, but I will be there with NFTs. They were like, what? You're going to do what? Yeah, NFTs. You know,
like, what is
do
that?
your own stuff. Don't worry. Come here and let's do the exhibition. So we were 10 artists in Panama in a hidden place, because in that moment we cannot manage to have a lot of people. It was
because it's the
regulation,
pandemic, of
so
course,
on,
of
pandemic.
Course. Yes, of course.
But we managed to get a lot of people there. I won't say the numbers.
No, don't say the numbers.
but were a lot of people interested in art. That's a good thing. So they came to us, they came to see it, and I was with a huge monitor with a lot of things that you could touch in there. And there was the NFTs with QR codes and few paintings as a physical ones. Physical paintings, and I tell them, yeah, if you buy the NFT, I gave you the painting. They were like, what's going on here? Everybody were there like trying to understand what I was talking about.
Yeah.
But suddenly appeared a guy there, and he told me, man, I can't believe you're doing this. You know what? I came back to Panama in 2 months. We have to talk. I was like, yeah, of course. yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Cool. Then he buy an NFT. I was like, oh, you really know what I'm talking about here. So it was like one person only between all of them that really understand it. A few weeks after that event, came out the huge news about Itzel Yard. She's a Panamanian digital artist. She does a generative art. So she creates codes and the computer creates the art. So it's insane. So she got a commissioner art to Tor. Tor is one of huge companies, and they protect people that do interviews, or they are in example right now. Imagine in Ukraine, you're in Ukraine, you are taking photos, you are taking videos, you are doing what you want to do. Tell the people the truth. Well, you are in exposure place. You are in danger. So Tor is an app that it's more a foundation, right? So they gave you the access and keys to you upload them, and then you're safe. You could delete it. You don't have anything to have with there. When you came out of the danger zone or red zone, you will have all your information back up. So these guys gave her the codes. So she created with her codes and her code, she did a mix. The computer did the magic and came out a huge art that was sold in $2 million. In that moment was 500 Ethereums. You could even go to Etherscan and you will follow the passes and you will see, because everything here is transparent and trustable. So if you don't know about her and you don't believe me, you just could get into the Etherscan, Google her, Etherscan, and you will see the transaction, 500 Ethereum for one art, not
wow.
5,000 of them, just one.
Wow.
And you know what? She's from Panama. So it was a huge deal.
It was a big deal.
Woman,
of course. A woman from Panama.
Latina.
Yep.
Man, amazing.
Of course, super amazing. Supporting Latin women. Yes.
Yeah, so the name of Panama and Latin artists in the NFT world started to pop up. It was a huge thing right in that moment.
Of course.
So I said, like, okay, let's keep doing. I started searching more, and I found out that what I was missing, it was communities. So I started to
and you said
get
the key
into the
word is communities.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know it till that moment.
Yeah.
So I started to get into spaces. I started to get into Telegram. I started to get into Clubhouse. And then I met a girl, her name is Clementina. She's a big deal in Colombia.
Yes.
And she said, like, you know what?
And
I love your
she's
owls.
Great in Telegram as well.
She's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very hard.
So it's like,
so
hi,
she buy my first NFT. I was like, whoa, she buy my first NFT as a NFT, like randomly. I was like, whoa, she's my first collector. Oh my God. You know?
Oh, cool.
It was cool. So I started from there, a huge rush to create more community for my art, for what I'm doing, why the owls, why these pandas. I started to talk with people, and they were like, okay, wanting to know more about me. And those connections start to sell NFTs, right? So it got to a moment, it was around April, starting in September, that I already saw in that moment 10 NFTs.
Oh, wow.
I was like, whoa, 10 NFTs already. Oh my God. And then I have 1 second sell, because in NFTs, that's amazing because you have royalties as an artist. So I started to receive royalties from my paintings. I was like, whoa, I sold them an NFT a few months ago, and now I'm receiving a royalty because they sold it again to anybody else. I was like, whoa, this is insane. This is great.
That is awesome. All I'm thinking about is your dad, that he said, be an artist if you will never have money. And I'm like, things have changed since 1970.
Totally. So in September, I teach him how to get into NFTs, and now he has NFTs too.
Oh, that's amazing. Good for him.
That's so funny. So everything started to get crazier in that moment, because NFT got into the La BitConf. La BitConf is it was the 5th year that they changed into cities, and they do 3 days of exhibitions, and people go there to talk about what's important on blockchain, on Bitcoin, and so on. But most of it is huge Bitcoin. But now, in that moment, it was going to be in El Salvador, because El Salvador, in that precise moment, they said, okay, we're going to have the Bitcoin as a national point.
Yes, I remember.
So they said, okay, we have to do that Bitcoin there. Yeah. So Clementina told me, hey, you know what? We are getting a lot of artists. We're going to get there. We're going to plan a speech, maybe a lab with NFTs in there. Who more interested to get there? So I was immediately like, yeah, I would go there. I was in Panama, so it was
not
close
far.
by.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm in. So everything starts to rush to that moment. And then this guy that buys an NFT on that art exhibition came back, and he said, hey, man, you know what? I'm here in Panama. Can you come to my office? And I get to the office, and he told me, hey, we're building a blockchain, a full ecosystem from Panama to Latin America. I was like, what? And he was like, you know what? I want you here in my team. And that's why I have this red shirt. Well, the ones that have that seal right now, right? So this guy is the founder. His name is Soren Asorian. And he's an amazing dude. So we connect, we start to talk, and then suddenly I am the NFT art director on his blockchain. I was like, whoa, imagine how everything started to change from March 2021 till August. I was like, man, what's going on?
That was just like 6 months.
So fast. Only 6 months of changes. I was like, everything rushing,
Oh,
rushing, 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 rushing. And it got the moment from the flying event to El Salvador. So I went to El Salvador already as an NFT director. So I was telling people, listen, yeah, you are an artist, cool. You have now the tools to get global. You have the tools to get a community that will produce later on your market. But there's more things. Example, NFTs are not just art. I learned in 6 months everything about them. Well, not everything, but
but
because
the
everything is
basics.
changing every 24
Yes.
hours. The next day, whatever you think you will know, forget about it. It's
Changed.
different right now.
Changed. Oh, wow.
So you have to be there learning, learning, learning every day, every hour. So listen podcasts,
Yes,
listen to
please.
spaces,
Yeah.
getting into this. It's the most valuable thing you could do. So
Learn.
I
You know
started
what?
there.
Now that you say that, today I've had multiple conversations, well, at least 3 conversations. In the 3 of them, I'm like, that's the message for today about different topics. And the 3 of them was like, learn, learn, learn. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
about
yeah.
learning.
It's totally it's not an easy path. If I could say something about how to get there and was what I'm telling them in Salvador is okay, you're an artist, fine. You want to do NFTs? Cool. Right now, in that moment, it came the second layer. So you don't have to pay gas fees as I used to have at the very beginning. Right now, you could do it free. You could do it. But the thing is, whom is your community that will buy that?
Yes.
Those art people really know why you painting. You don't even get into those places. So you place the art, yeah, you won't
And
sell it
no
because
one
it's
will
just
buy.
there. You
So, for
didn't
example,
do the
exactly.
process of connect.
Oh, so what is the process? Let's say if I am an artist or if I am a
The,
wannabe
the very
artist.
first thing, the very first thing for me is three, no, 30 to 40 hours minimum in clubhouses and tourist spaces. First of all.
Okay.
Second, learn how to use Twitter. People are stuck to Instagram or not even TikTok. They just watch TikTok. They don't do videos or content. So as an artist, you could get bigger or sell your art or whatever you want to do in these spaces. But first, you need to create your community. And how you create your community? Getting into the Twitter spaces, talking with people. People will want to know what you're doing. Why are you doing that? So once you manage to create a community, a strong one, maybe you already have it, but you don't interact with them. Okay, start to talk with them. Start to be part of your
Wow.
own community. That's the key because then the people will connect with you, right? Because some people think, oh, I will do NFTs and I will be millionaire the next day. No, it's not like that.
No,
And it's
no,
not for
no,
that. The technology
no.
is there for helping people. So
Yes.
in that moment in El Salvador wasn't a big deal with the DAOs. I'm going to the DAOs. Wait. So I tell these 5,000 people there are a lot of things about NFTs, but the most important thing it was the NFTs spaces or the blockchain spaces are creating new jobs. So people could start to get new kind of jobs without getting out of their countries. They could start working from their homes with good internet.
Yes, that's
What
all
you
we
only
need
want to
now.
know,
Yeah.
what you need to know about maybe Python. You are a coder, okay, start learning Python. You're an artist, okay, let's start doing Twitter spaces, start doing more things that evolves you, not only your art. Oh, you want to do a DAO, okay, to me the DAOs will be the future of governments
What's
or
a DAO?
even, okay, DAO is decentralized autonomous organization.
Meaning,
So it works with tokens and NFTs. Okay. So in
what
that
does
moment, it
that
was
mean?
a huge deal.
What does that mean for me and all the
Wait.
newbies?
Let me get there with
What
a
does
cute
that
one.
mean?
So let me close
Okay,
the
okay, okay,
Salvador and I'm
okay.
going there. So the Salvador was a huge experience, but the end of that event was what marked myself. Because at the end of that event, the artists, we painted 15 surfboards. We were 21. So one of them, we painted 5 artists in one. But all of them were sold out because all the money that they were raised up there, it was going to an oncologist hospital. So it was a huge deal. They collect, it was 0.7 Bitcoin in that moment, and the event gave more money about, so they gave him a total of $100,000 for the hospital.
Wow.
So that happened in just 1 hour. I was
Oh,
like, whoa, look at the power of these technologies, mix it with art with a good cause. I was like, man, exploded my head. So when I came back to Panama, one of my students thought to a foundation. The name is Make a Wish. Make a Wish. They gave to kids that having a bad time, maybe kids that doesn't survive more than 1 year.
this
They
is like
gave
kids
them
with cancer.
their dream. Yeah. So suddenly they called me like, listen, man, we are talking with a lot of artists in Panama, but they don't wasn't not willing to teach because they don't know how to teach and they don't want to do the process of teaching. It's not like, okay, I could be the most intelligent man right now on maybe math, but if I don't know how to teach you math, you won't learn anything from me, right?
Yeah.
So I start to teach people, right? So I have that thing of teaching. So this foundation told me, listen, this is a girl that has 12 years. She only wants to do art, learn how to do art. And she's having already 1 year of chemo. And it's missing already 1 more year doing chemo. And she's living at 5 hours from the city. I was like, okay, what do you want from me? Let's do it. So I started to do classes to her. I tell the people behind the RedLine, hey, listen, guys, I have this kid. We're going to do an event for her. They got immediately engaged with it because our founder, he's a survivor. So he went like, okay, you know what? I will help her. Why not? Here it is. Gave her this, that, and we create a huge gift for her. And right now, we start to do classes with her. So it's already 3 months since we started doing classes with her. And the launch of RedLine Blockchain was on October 10th. So November, we already have this kid. November, we were moving forward with the Red Kids. So we start to create and help through technology and arts to people that really need it and creating a future for them. At the same time, you're creating a legacy. You're the pioneer, right? You're doing this and so on. So things start moving, and then appears this huge deal with Ukraine. And there is a girl in Ukraine that created a DAO. You see, we're going to a DAO. So the DAO, it's like a foundation. But in order to have a vote, you have to collect or the token or the NFT. And when you do more money on the token or more money on the NFT, you have more space to do your vote. Okay.
I have a basic question.
Yeah.
For me and everyone listening, I'm still confused. What's a DAO? Can you repeat again? Not what.
Yeah.
What does
Look,
it
the
stand for? But
centralized
what's
autonomous organization means that doesn't have to be centralized. Yeah, it has people that will do the votes in order to what it will do the organization.
Okay.
That's why I'm thinking governments or foundations will move forward with time to be in a DAO. And the example we have is right now on the war. This girl created this DAO to help people that needs food, shelter, even arms to the government. She raised up $60 million in 2 days. Look at the power of the community, the global community that believe in her cause. Help the people that don't have shelter, food, and so on. So these people start to give money to that foundation, but it's a DAO. So they start to do NFTs. Because why NFTs? Because this huge work, it's been destroying galleries, museums. Most of the artists from there are losing their paintings. And what we have with the blockchain is that we can create a painting or an art that will be immortalized through the blockchain. So what they're doing is giving a second life to those arts that been is missing forever right now. These paintings is already completely destroyed. So they are giving to these artists the opportunity to have their paintings immortalized and serving to God cause. So the royalty on those paintings will go straight to the artist. So the artist is winning money, the artist getting to different places, the community, the global community is getting in there, involved and bought in to what they will do with the money. Oh, you know what? I buy the flag for 6.7 million, so I have more vote. So I could say, you know what? Gave 3 million to the people that doesn't have right now food, and the rest to the government to do whatever they want to protect them. That's one thing. So imagine as a foundation, you will have the same things. You will have arts, you will have tokens, but the people that buy those is the ones that has the opinion or the vote to decide whatever they want to do.
Okay, understood.
Okay, cool. The DAO is amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is empowered with a blockchain, empowered with token, empowered with an NFT. So you are mixing technology, you're mixing a cost, you're mixing utility to these projects. So the NFTs at the very beginning was money, fame. That's it. All of them are going to zero right now. I will keep going to zero because they're missing a point. It needs an utility. It needs a purpose. So I believe in few months, not years, few months, most of the NFT projects will going to change to kind of DAOs or even a DAO, or they're going to be 80% utility and 20% art.
Oh wow, that's a big shift.
Yeah, that's where it's
Currently
going
it's
for
like,
me.
yeah, that's your.
Well, it's like a lot of subgroups. One will be art. Art will always will be art.
Yes.
Oh,
exactly,
you connect with the artist. You connect with the painting. Doesn't need a value purpose. Doesn't
No,
need
you just like
utility purpose.
the
You
piece of
are in
art.
love with
Yeah, it's
that
like
art.
I
That's it.
love my painting here. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I just
and
love
that
it.
will
Yeah.
keep going. That will keep going. Music, the same thing. You are an artist as a musician. Yeah, you will get your royalties, not to these other platforms. Still, it's just another subgroup. But the most of them and what is going to be abolish people right now on buying, it will be those that has utility and a purpose.
Awesome. I
Cool,
like
right?
I
So
like where the
that's why
world is
everything
going.
is changing. So RedLine blockchain, me as a RedLine team, we're helping people to get teach about what is blockchain, what is the NFTs, why you will need or you've been concerned to know about this. Then we're going to open our marketplace. If you, we are like almost 60 days to open up, but it's Latino. You know, most of the spaces, most of the things that we're talking about NFTs, to some people could be a huge headache because it's everything in English. And you might be, if you are in the Latino side, you are not understanding what they're talking about. And if you do, it will get you a huge headache because you're not understanding the essence.
Oh, so it's either you don't understand the meaning of the words that they are using and the process,
yeah,
or you don't understand English because you're a Spanish native speaker, or you don't
exactly.
understand neither nor, and then it's pain. Yes.
Exactly. So our mission is to help all the Latino side and grow all these areas to start seeing more projects like the Ukrainian one in the Latino side. Maybe from Mexico, somebody tells to people, you know what, my community will going to start do these things for kids that has no shelters because of the drug wars. Oh, that's a good thing. And they started doing transparent things, trustable things through the new technologies. That's it. So that's why I was comparing at the very beginning with the ferrocarril, the cars, the planes. That's are things that we use normally today that help us through our days. So blockchains, NFTs, DAOs, DeFi's, and DEX, those are the words that will going to be those same things in the past. They are the new ones that helping us to be better. a better community, a better country, better in ourselves too, because it teach you how to do things that you wasn't supposed to being able to do. Example, there is a kid that makes an NFT project, and the NFT project is to create a house to give shelter to people that is being moved away from their houses because of the drugs. That's it. So he already collect 2 millions in one day. People globally are willing to help the good causes.
Yeah.
So that's important for me, my kids.
Yes.
Yeah. So learning all this and getting into here with RedLine and so on. What is coming now is my project with RedLine. It will be exclusive with RedLine blockchain. It wasn't be on OpenSea and so on. It will be exactly in there. So in order to buying those NFTs and being part of that community, you have to get into the RedLine blockchain and search for me, right? It's in there. It will be exclusive there. But what's important there? Because RedLine is here in Panama, because it's for Latin people, Latin American people. It will be in Spanish and English. And third, it will start here, my project. So it's important to be in part of whatever or whom are their participant right now here. So what's my project about? You already know about my art. You already know about I'm teaching arts, and I'm involved with the NFTs. So I'm mixing everything together. And what I'm going to pop up later, in maybe 60 days maximum, it will be arts as an NFT project inside the RedLine blockchain with the RedLine coins. But what's about? Okay, this is the important thing. So it's a big thing that most of the oncologists hospital are far away from the people who need it the most.
Yes.
It's no faces. You could be rich and you could have cancer. You could be really pure and you could have cancer too. So there's no face or limits on who could have that disease. Yeah. So in that order of ideas, my project is to create a house with 2 floors, maybe 3 floors, that in the first one, you will receive art classes, photographer classes, coding classes, how to print in 3D. You will learn how to be part of the Web3 communities worldwide. Second and third floor will be homes for people that need to stay with maybe with their kids 2 or 3 days in the city, and you don't have the money to be paying an hotel. You cannot afford that. Well, there's a place that will give them this shelter as free. How it will work? It will work through the buyers, through the collectors, through the community that will be buying the arts of myself, the ones that buy my art classes, or directly through the token or the NFT project that's for that house. So the main thing is collect money for the people that will work in there, for the people that will help them there, for those who doesn't have the money to stay in the city to wait their kids. Or maybe you are alone, you are yourself, but you cannot afford to stay all the time here in the city, creating these places. But not only in Panama, that's a cool thing. The thing is to involve more art, to involve those kids to do art, and then upload those things to NFTs, and this will help to continue it, automatize this house. And that thing is to be one in Panama, maybe one in Mexico, another one in El Salvador, spread as a physical and technology through the NFTs.
So if I understand correctly, basically what you want to do going forwards with your project is to build a house, like a homestay, where you can teach people skills like art skills, photography skills, Web3 skills. And on top of that, there's a societal problem where there's people with cancer that they do not live close to the big cities. to go to the hospitals, and they have to
or the
travel,
hospital that gave them.
or the hospital, yeah, and they need to travel, and then they basically don't have the money to stay somewhere decent. I've seen that in Mexico City, like the government hospital. You see the cancer government's hospital. You see outside there's people camping. There's people in sleeping bags,
Yeah,
because that's the
they
reality.
can
It's
afford
very
it.
sad.
They can
It's
afford
very,
it.
yeah, that's the
It
reality.
is. It is.
And
It
then what
is.
you
It
want
is.
to
And
do is, and like that's a horrible disease that everybody, I believe most of the people in the world know someone, or at least know someone who knows someone that has gone through that. So it is making impact for basically people who, in addition to having a disease, then they don't have the money to go
yeah,
from their
look,
town to the city, and you want to provide a home for them during those tough times.
look at this.
That's what you want
Look
to
at
do.
this. It could be a family that doesn't have car. Just as simple as that. They can afford a car. So maybe they live in on a coast side. So example in Panama, maybe they live in 6 hours from the only hospital that can provide them their son what he needs. So imagine trying to be in a bus 6 hours with your kids sick. You cannot afford more than that, but you have to come here. You need it. You have to. And then you get here and they tell you, you know what, your kid has to stay here 7 days. What you will do in 7 days? You don't have no choice. You need to get back to your house. So you have to take another bus to get 7 hours to your house, to stay there, a part of your kid, waiting to see what happened. So imagine if some things that happen to this person that has the cancer, we are helping them to immortalize their vision, their passion through art. We could do with them arts in the first floor. And whatever they do, we will upload it on the blockchain and will be immortalized. People will always remember them. You see? So it's important. It's important not just for them, not just for the family, and not just for Panama. It's a global thing. Yeah, there's a lot of kids or people that doesn't have food, and there's needs to be another DAO or something like that that helps them. Right now, what I can do is teach art, teach NFTs, teach blockchain, teach about Web3. That's what I can do. So doing so, I could help them. Why not? So that's why for me, this project, it will be most important for everything, because my paintings, yes, I have to eat too. I need a shelter too. So 60% or 70% will be donated to that cause, but the rest will be obviously for me as a creator. But that's only for the art part. The NFT project to the house, it will be 100% to that house. The classes in the first floor, even though you are not having this disease or anything to do with that, but you want to learn, you want to be part of the Web3, you want to change your life, you could get there, take these courses, take these classes, at least 1 or 2 free though. Then so on, keep going. If you are willing to invest, happily to receive it, because those classes and whatever you're paying for, it will go straight to that house.
Yeah. That's an amazing project.
So yeah, and once again, doing a lot of noise. People learn why, whom, where in the spaces, your spaces, clubhouses, this one, podcasts, being able to being open to whomever wants to talk to you.
Of course. Yeah.
So that's the totally cool thing. You see how everything changed from painting dolphins to doing exhibitions.
See, that's what I said
by myself,
at the beginning. What did I say?
NFTs.
Amazing story. It's like it was an amazing story. So we've talked a long time by now. So if you're still listening, thank you.
We will need later.
Yeah, we'll have to do.
Thank you for receiving me, Monica.
No, thank you so much. What I think, like as a final remark, and just to close, what could be your final message or final remark?
Okay, doesn't matter whom you are or where you are. If you want to change your life, start right now learning about Web3. You don't have internet, you don't have a cell phone, maybe a friend of you will have. If you are really willing to learn, there is people that are willing to help you. Doesn't matter where you are, remember, but it's important that comes from you. You want to learn, you really want to learn. There is a way to. You want to do art because you want to express yourself? There is a way too. You want to start doing projects that will help people in a different way as a transparent, as a traceable thing. Start with the blockchains. Start hearing this podcast by instead. This could be your very first step.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Where can we find you?
Well, you could find me on Google, type in my name, Manuel Daza, then you will have like a lot of things. The other way is going through redlineblockchain.com. You will find my profile there too.
Yeah.
And the other one will be getting connect to all the NFT spaces. I am all the time bullish on it. So I am at least 6 or 5 hours a day on these spaces.
Wow.
So we could get in there. Well, the other things will be Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Most all of three of them are the same name, so it will be my name instead of the E. It will be a number 3, so it will be 3 Emmanuel, and then my last name Daza. So Emmanuel Daza, but with 3. You know, we're in the Web3. We're connecting this physical world to the digital, so that's why I changed my E for a 3.
Sounds amazing.
It's easy to find.
Cool. That is amazing. Awesome. Emmanuel, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. And everyone, please re-listen to this. It's been really insightful. Re-listen, take action. Just like take the appropriate step for you, whether that is starting to get yourself educated or having the leap of faith and say, hey, I'm an artist and I want to do my own NFT, but
don't be afraid.
Exactly. So yeah, it's been a beautiful, amazing episode. Definitely we need to do part 2. We need to see what happens with the house.
Let's do it when I launch my NFT project. So that would be insane. Because everybody will see or hear the changes, how it starts, where it starts, what you're promoting, and then, oh, you're doing it. How could I help? How could I be part? Why not?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Whoop, whoop.
Bye, Monica.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Bye.
Thank you for your time.